Alright everyone, it's time for the Occult video number 343. Most religious leaders should be punished in a hell of their own design. Religion likes to peddle fear, and I'm talking, by the way, because I'll get some of the hyper-religious deist vultures and shit out there saying, well, Styx is being cringe-lord, lay tips fedora. I'm not talking about spirituality. I'm not even talking about like going to church or belief in a god or anything like that. I'm talking about the organized religious edifice. That is the clergy of whatever religion we wish to speak of, and its money-making grift, because that's really what it boils down to. Most religious leaders in the world are disingenuous retards. They're hacks. We can see over and over again. Look at megachurch pastors as a best example in the Western world. Although there's a similarity in the Eastern world, I should probably get to some of the self-professed gurus as well. And within Islam, it's a huge problem. In Christianity, Protestant Christianity specifically, and certain Catholic offshoots, Mormons and shit, you look at it, you look at pastor after pastor of these mega churches. They wear their Rolex and their $1,000 suit, and they parade themselves around in front of their congregation and say, well, if you send us $19.99, I will pray for your leukemia. And they make a huge amount of money to the point where I can't remember. What's his name there was hiding a bunch of money in the wall behind his toilet that got found. Now he's under investigation. You had Peter Popoff. He went to jail for fraud. And his wife, if I remember correctly. You had Haggart, who was a big anti-gay, anti-drug crusade conservative Christian. And then he got found out with an 18-year-old gay prostitute while smoking crack and methamphetamine in a hotel room. Over and over and over again, especially on the prosperity gospel side of the Protestant side of Christianity, it's charlatans. When we look at the Catholic Church, Catholic Church spends 1,000 years trying to kill all the Protestants, or however many centuries. Now you've got a little statue of Martin Luther outside the Vatican. Islamists are invited into Catholic churches to pray, again, after centuries and centuries of defending your land, which is for Christ. You've conquered it for Christ against these other groups. Islam does the same thing. Islamic preachers, imams and so forth, most of them are grifters. They're getting oil money, building mosques, radicalizing people, rinse and repeat. It happens. It's been happening for years and years. You have madrasas in the Western world. You look at the literature, it explicitly teaches a non-spiritual version of jihad. It's not talking about that being a struggle against Satan or something. It's talking about it in physical terms. It's a struggle against the infidels. It's partially funded by the Western governments in some areas. They're getting allotted funds and being given permission to spread these things. Most of the lay people within a religion, they believe in their deity, whether more or less religiously. Some of them are like, hey, I believe in God, I go to church on Christmas. Others are like, I believe in God and I pray every day and I fast all the time and I make pilgrimages and missionary work and stuff. There are differences in the amount of religiosity. Most of the religious leaders, I'll tell you, aren't religious at all. They're not even theists. I bet that the Pope is an atheist. I bet that most of the major rabbis and imams and pastors of the world, they're atheists. They don't even believe in their God. Most of them are probably just bitter secularists that want to make money. What better way to make it? You declare yourself a guru or a god man or something and make your little shrine, and you can sit there on your throne and you can talk to people for a living and make 7 figures doing it. Look at Nityananda, big-time Eastern guru of Hinduism. Claims that he can make people levitate. Claims he can make people do telekinetic things and shit, none of which will ever happen. It's horseshit. It's charlatanism. It's not even genuinely Hindu in some cases. You watch Hindi TV, which sometimes I do. You'll see all sorts of ads. It's like going back to the 80s or the 90s in the United States. You know, when you see the miracle spring water and genuine peace of Jesus cross, and this is a specially blessed picture of some saint, what's his name, that was baptized in the Jordan River, and it'll protect you from Satan and stuff. You know that? All those infomercials and shit back in the 90s especially, at the peak. The moral panics of the 80s and 90s were quite something. I can remember the tail end of it. It's basically the same thing if you watch Hindi TV. Little Hanuman statues and shit like that, and even if you don't speak Hindi, and some of it crosses over with English, which is the official business language of India, it's like, well, for only $25.99 or whatever its value would be in rupees, I believe, have this in your home and you can offer it incense and stuff, and it's like a little mass-produced Hanuman statue. Well, where's the actual authentic religiosity? It's probably blessed by some person in the Madrasa caste, actually, just by throwing it against a wall a couple of times. There's no religion in it. It's a grift. It's an attempt to make money. Now, the religious leaders are the ones doing this. And corporate leaders, but they tend to be the same thing. They're inescapably the same thing. Religions tend to evolve along a cultural, a religious basis in an evolutionary form. So do businesses, and they're intertwined. A religion that doesn't make money and certainly can't attract the charismatic talent by making them money won't survive as well. It's at an evolutionary disadvantage unless, and I'll be doing this in a different video soon, unless it is separatistic, that is, it's anti-cultural and totally divorces itself from this, like the Amish or something, certain neo-pagan groups, or if it is extremely remote, that is, it's an uncontacted tribe or something. Otherwise, it's part of that same commercial bubble. Again, this is why there's a Martin Luther statue at the Vatican. This is why Islamists go into Catholic churches and hold prayer times. This is why these religions are globalizing. The religious leaders are the ones primarily pushing this to make money. Under their own auspices, under their own dogmatic canons, they should all be in hell, of various kinds. The Pope should be in hell. The Pope should go to hell when he dies. The imams, they should be subject to the punishment of Dajjal when they die. They shouldn't be going to the rivers of wine with the 40 virgins. They should, unless those virgins are a bunch of 4chan nerds. That would be a true hell. They should be in hell. The Jewish rabbis, most of them, again, promoting war and expansionism, at least that side of Judaism, they should be in hell. Or its equivalent. I realize that the authentic Judaism doesn't really have that concept in general. The general term is Gehenna, which is used, which was a trash heap where they burned the trash outside of Jerusalem. The idea was that separation from God or ungodliness led to a condition that was as bad as that. But it's not really like a fiery inferno. It's not like Dante's Inferno or something. But you should be forgotten, in the grave, disappear, your soul completely obliterated by the light of God into non-existence. The Eastern gurus, they should be reincarnating as tree slugs or as ferns or something. They should reincarnate as a bacterium that lives in someone's GI tract. That should be the appointment for these leaders, because they're misleading people into what all of their religions, at least in the canonical sense, say is sin. The Catholic II Church and the Catholic I Church was just as bad. The imperialism and the violence there, what's the fucking difference? Oh, we're going to slaughter these goddamn heathens. Okay, well, thou shalt not kill generally applies. I guess it doesn't apply to a collective like it does the individual. You're supposed to suspend your conscience there. That's the other side. These religions tend to be insanely violent. Or at least they're used for violence. Again, who benefits from it? The government that co-opts the religion. They work hand in hand. And the priest. They love it. The priest gets to baptize all the weapons and stuff. Even the Orthodoxy does this stupid shit. You see the Russians, before they go off into training and stuff, they get an Orthodox priest sprinkling the weapons. God will bless your firearm to kill more Chechens. What the fuck are you talking about? And virtually every religion has been perverted by this basic concept. Again, unless it is an anti-cultural religion, one that is separatistic or even anarchist in nature, the Amish, you could say groups within the Alawite, within the Levant region, certain offshoot like hippie Christian groups, the New Age hippies, with their pseudo-spirituality, which actually is an adaptation of the great-grandparents' Victorian mentality. They don't even realize it. They think that they were ushering in the New Age. New Age dates to the late 19th century. These people are morons. Religions like that, maybe elements of traditionalistic Shinto, certain schools of Buddhism, the mystic Jews. Those groups would be separate from the commercialized core, the pro-war core especially of lamestream globalized religion. Again, the other would be uncontacted groups like the Yanomami or something. I'll be making, again, a video on this subject, so I shouldn't get too deep into it now. Otherwise, these leaders basically lead corporations, and they should die and go to hell under the auspices of their own religions. They will be judged by their own gods, but here's the thing. The reason why they persist in their sin is they don't believe in their gods. They don't believe in Jesus. They don't believe in Allah. They don't believe in Yahweh. They don't care about Vishnu's will or what Brahma's doing. or what Buddha taught. They don't care about the teachers and the gods of their religions. They're religious without being religious. They're the ultimate sinners, especially since they pervert other people's minds for their own benefit and the benefit of their sponsors and their corporate buddies. That's about all. Peace out.